so after your sophomore year, you make a decision to transfer, which was nowadays it's like, everybody transfers
It
all
was
the time.
130 people in the portal when I transferred.
Yeah, now it's 3,000. So what goes into that decision when it's not, it's not the thing that everybody is doing at that time?
So I became a father after my freshman year.
Mm-hmm.
So at 19 years old, my girlfriend gets pregnant, and I have to make a decision. I stayed home to be close to my family, but now I'm going to be a father. But I have to make another decision. Do I go away and, put myself in a position to take care of my family better? Or do I stay here and grind it out so that I can be present and available? And ultimately, I chose to make my future better. And I had to sacrifice some of that visibility to my family to do so. But for me, the biggest thing was just I wasn't learning at the rate that I had been learning in high school. I played 3 years of basketball prior to coming to college, and I was ranked in the top 35 where you got guys who've been playing since they were 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So learning the game at that rate was really good for me. And as I got older, stronger, more athletic, I wanted more.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was fortunate enough to play for a Hall of Fame high school coach. And my decision was I need to play for a guy who's, if not equal or better than where I started. So that was my decision for, obviously Arizona became another option when I was transferring because it was a place that I considered heavily coming out of high school.
Mm-hmm.
And Lute Olson is a Hall of Fame coach. So really it was between Coach K and Lute Olson. And ultimately we know the answer to that question.
So why was it Duke over Arizona?
When I got to Arizona on the visit, it felt corporate.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't feel home. When I got to Duke, I just felt like I was at home. And it helped that I had family in North Carolina. My family's
Mm-hmm.
originally from North Carolina and South Carolina. So I had family here. So when I got to North Carolina and I had such a great time with nobody on campus,
Mm-hmm.
no parties, no anything, my thought process was I got the best of Arizona, but I still feel better not getting the best of what Duke had to offer.
Yeah.
From a student perspective. So I felt like it was something more for me to experience and learn at Duke. So I ultimately chose Duke because the opportunity to play, I had an opportunity to play at both places, but Grant was graduating, Tony Lang was graduating,
Mm-hmm.
Cherokee Parks was leaving. They didn't have anybody like me.
Mm-hmm.
That they were losing all of their guys who were 6'8" that could step inside, outside. And I saw an opportunity to say, you know what, I can help bring the best program arguably in the country back to prominence. And that was a great challenge for me. And I wanted to be a part of bringing that back.
Yeah. So you get down there and obviously, you got to sit out for the year. What was that experience like, having to sit out, only being able to practice, go to just watch the games? That sounds like the worst, like the worst of the worst in college.
Yeah,
like
it was.
Not
it was
being
really
able to
bad.
Play and just practicing.
It was
especially
bad,
at Duke, because I don't, some of y'all don't know, in practices is no joke.
And not be able to take it out on somebody
Yeah,
else.
exactly,
Right?
exactly.
So it was tough, man, because back then they really, because it was such a rare thing to transfer, they didn't really have a whole lot of rules in place to make it comfortable for a transfer.
Mm-hmm.
They was trying to stop people from transferring most of the time back then. So if you transferred, it really had to be a change for you. And for me, not being able to travel to the away games, not being able to participate in a lot of, the travel to events that, I had to pay for myself to go to the ACC tournament.
What?
It was bad. Like I said, I had family there, so I was able to get the tickets, but I couldn't transport. It was a lot of bad rules back then. So it was really difficult, but at the same time, it gave me a chance to really sit down and from a academic standpoint, transfer and get ahead academically. So I was able to have a bigger load as a result of it, get ahead on my studies, so that by the time my senior year came, I didn't have such a heavy load. And the year sitting out, I was able to spread that out a little bit more. So that was a positive that I can take from it.
One of the few.
Because my first week there, I had a 25-page paper, and I'm like, man, it's a final. Like, what are we doing here?
Goodness. Oh man.
And that was very, very, very tough transition academically.
Yeah.
Not to say that St. John's wasn't, strong academically, but it just, compared to Duke, it was easy.
Yeah.
But so that was the toughest part, was not being able to travel and be a part of the team. And a little story, even though I couldn't travel, I used to play pickup down at the down in Burlington, where my family was living, at the rec center, and they had like a little league going on, and I played in that league, and I didn't know I wasn't supposed to play in the league.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I think statute of limitations has run out on that.
Yeah,
so I think we should be all right.
I'll make that disclosure. And I wasn't even aware that I wasn't supposed to play in the league. And so we get to the championship. I'm averaging like 50. I'm really the only guy on the team, my cousin and like his friends, and they're excited because they're always in last place. Championship game comes around, and somebody calls coach or calls the school, and coach is like, "Bro, you can't play in it." So I was not able to play in the game.
Oh man.
And they end up losing by like 35 in the championship.
It had somebody from the other team drop a dime, huh?
Oh man, they did. Man.
Oh, that's messed up.
They didn't want to see me put that 50 ball on them.
But it was coming. It was coming.
Oh man.
So that year, do you feel like you're having to just watch the games? Do you feel like you were able to see the game differently once you were able to play the next year, or learn the game a little bit more by watching?
Yeah, of course. I spent a lot of time in the film room. When I got there, I was about 248, and first thing coach said to me is, "I need you to get to about 218." And I was, such a random number, but I didn't understand why, because when I left high school, I was about 195, 6'8", 195, and I always played with speed and quickness. And when I got to St. John's, I played center. And, they would just try to bulk me up because it was the Big East.
Yep.
And, I didn't understand, like, until I actually got to about 220, 218, the limitations I was under for carrying all that weight. It brought out things that I forgot that I had, in quickness and the ability to get to spots, in a short and quick burst and things like that. So I watched a lot of film from my games at St. John's. I watched a lot of Duke games as to how coach was going to be able to use me as a player. And then I got to work with Quinn Snyder, Johnny Dawkins, Dave Henderson, guys like that who understood the game at a high level. And it really expanded my game from just being a post guy to being able to step out on the floor. And I could always shoot the ball. I just didn't have the confidence to do it. And I wasn't encouraged to do it much at St. John's. But once I got to Duke, obviously, three ball is a big part of our game. So my confidence was boosted. When to shoot, time in school. I learned so many more things about the college game in that year, just sitting out. Like I was able to play in the blue-white game.
Yeah.
And I had like 25 in the blue-white game, and everybody was like, "Man, this dude can't play."
Yeah.
We need him right now.
Yeah, right. That's all you get. All right, I'm out. I'll see y'all next year.
And so that was, just a glimpse of just the things that I was able to learn in that season. And, when throughout the year, I always practiced on the second unit as the best player, whoever we were playing against. I got to watch film on them, and I imitated them the best I could so that we could be as prepared as we could. So what that did was it expanded my game a little bit more.
Yeah.
Imitating Tim Duncan and watching film on him, and, guys who, Antoine Jameson, and just having to go over those things and bring those things to practice to prepare us to play. It made me a better player as a result of it. And I would call myself an OG at a stretch 4, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
If I played in this era, man, I'd be worth about 90 million.
At least, right? At least. Might be a little more.